I'ma leave out. She took the river with Judas. Tearing down the barrel of his gun. Yes, he shot me down. I died and someone brought me back to life, but never to my senses. Bounce on that shit, dance. Bounce on that shit, dance.
Hey, hi everyone. Hold on, I got a surprise before we get into the interview. I saw this today and it was a great laugh. Shout out to Chester Gregory off of Instagram.
Jesus is coming and you know that the time is now. We don't know why or when, or we know it's how. Get ready to meet the Savior. Better change our bad behavior, or the devil is taking control 5 months from now.
They ain't that.
Rapture 2011. If you want to go to heaven, get on that rapture bus.
One day later.
There was no rapture 2011. Ain't nobody going to heaven. So what was the fuss? There was no rapture bus.
What's up, y'all? And the guy said he got to take the subway home. So obviously they stayed the night. Now this happened in 2011. We saw this. Welcome to, is it Jupiter and Neptune and Pluto? One of them. And Aries, welcome. This is a hot mess. I don't forget what sign it's in, but we're going to see a lot of this. It's a lot of crazies. And I was telling someone, I was watching a video. I said, listen, I walk out my door now when I make sure. Am I sure where am I supposed to be? Because I'm interacting with crazies out this door. I'm interacting. We've seen that. But let's go on to another topic, honey. Baby Apryl. So if y'all don't remember Apryl, this is Apryl. This is Omarion's baby mother, the one that was dating Fizzle Pop. Sorry, Fizz. Don't get mad at me. I hope I still got my ticket for B2K. I love you. You still my boyfriend. Anyway, she was dating Omarion, had 2 children, ended the relationship and dated Little Fizz. She also speculated that. She also came and said alcohol almost took everything from her at one point in her life. I kind of figured that because some of her lives were very, very questionable. So we're going to do a reaction on the live. Shout out to Mr. Carlos King. Let me tell you something. He used to do these on the couch, and not on the couch, but online. And then he started transitioning to studios. And then that's when he started saying, let's make it a little more intimate. So shout out to my Libra big brother. I'm proud of him. Now I'm ready to get into this conversation because I kind of figured before, so I can read about, everything, but I kind of figured something was going on with her. And the reason I say that because Apryl would go live dancing. I don't care who F my cuckoo and woo woo. And I'm like, girl, is you okay? And then she started dating that actor at the time. Goodness gracious. She dated him for a while. They had a great relationship because remember, he had just got divorced and he ended that relationship with her. Hold on, y'all. He ended that relationship with her. They had a show in everything. Tay Diggs. They had a show in everything, and I noticed that the relationship just erupted, and she started focusing more on herself, more on her growth. But I'm gonna read my disclaimer before we get into it. Under section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allows made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is as a use permitted by the copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in the favor of fair use. Okay, so I just want to put my fair use there. JT did respond. Cardi B, everybody say she claims she dragged. FYI, she did not. I said what I said. There was no point of her adding that orange man who is the. We'll get into that tomorrow. Yeah, we might get into that tonight because there was no need to add him. That was dumb. All right, let's get into it. Hey, Jasmine.
FM and
Okay, let's.
Hey Raindrops, on today's episode of Reality with the King, I have been wanting this gorgeous gal to sit on my couch. Not in that way, but to talk to me, to have a real conversation for like almost 2 years. And I finally have her. We have so much to catch up on. We are meeting for the first time. She is so gorgeous. Give it up for the beautiful Apryl Jones.
Hi. Hello, Mr. Handsome.
Oh, well, coming from you, thank you. You are gorgeous.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I get weird about these things just because, but
Why?
thank you. I don't know.
Hey, between us girls,
Okay.
you must have gotten that your whole life. Like,
no.
you were never told. Cause listen, I always
No.
ask the baddies this. You had to have been told your whole life you're gorgeous.
No, I think that's probably why I struggle, like to hear it, to accept it. Like it's a beautiful thing to hear now, and I'm like, oh God, but I get weird about it because I think I wasn't always that kid.
No.
I really was the kid that had the jacked up teeth and had to get braces and was kind of trying to figure out my way, and like the gothic girl with the little band across the neck and like the chain on the pant. It was your girl went through some things. You know what I mean? So I wasn't always.
Okay.
But
Well, things have worked out for you.
they have. You know what I mean? And then you go through the transition of having kids and your body feels not so.
That's true.
So, I'm in a space of receiving it. I receive it, and I appreciate that.
Okay. And the thing is too, look, I have been dying
Thank
to
you.
talk to you for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's because I feel like you are such a phenomenal woman
Thank you.
who have, girl, for some reason, the blogs love you. No matter what you do, you're featured on the blogs.
But it's always like either who I'm dating or like, I don't understand. I'm like, why do you guys pick up the most randomest things? And then sometimes I'm like, I'm doing really positive things. And they happen to have picked up a positive thing recently. Yeah. So I was like, man, like, okay. But I feel like, what is it?
But that's the reason why I've always wanted to talk to you, because to your credit, you have built this mystery, which is rare because obviously we were introduced to you being on Love and Hip Hop. Mm-hmm. But even so, you haven't, listen, this is coming from me who has done 20 years of reality television. You have not been overexposed at all. Was that a conscious choice for you? Because when it came to being famous, did you always want to be on television, or did you do it because at that time in your life you were with your child's father and you were just like, if he wants to do it, I'm going to do it with him?
Well, I never wanted to do reality TV, right? I always knew that I was going to move to California, that being in the entertainment industry was something that I wanted to do because I wanted to sing initially. And this is why I moved to California in 2012. But then when me and Omari met, his management team was like, you know, Love and Hip Hop reached out and they were like, man, we love your relationship. Because this was at the time we were like putting it online. And so everybody was kind of gravitating towards our relationship and loved us. And they were like, well, we'd love to have you guys on the show. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I don't know if I really want to do this. But when you're in partnership, sometimes you make sacrifices. Sometimes it's not always about me. And I think that at that time, he was kind of coming back into his own and coming off of being like, you know, solo and all the things that the management team was like, you know, I think like showing the family dynamic and showing that you guys are getting ready to have a child together, and you know who Omarion is would be really beneficial. And so I said, you know what, it could be. And so that's why I ended up doing it, which, you know, it served us good for a while. And then, yeah, you know, I mean, I guess it purposefully served us good, and then in some instances it didn't. But
yeah. Somebody did an interview recently, and they said that one of the reasons why Omarion's team wanted him to do Love and Hip Hop was because they wanted to dispel the gay rumors. Is that true?
Sure.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it.
Wait a
Meet
minute.
Base 44.
Okay, so let me explain it. The gay rumors started when the tea came out. Well, the situation came out supposedly, allegedly. We're going to say allegedly. We're going to say so, allegedly about Chris Stokes. Remember? So when Razby came out, it did that. That's when that came out. But I'm still trying to figure out, because he wasn't with them anymore. He wasn't, I don't believe he was with he's with Chris Stokes anymore anyway, because the boys were fighting for their own rights to stuff. So I'm trying to figure out how that happened. He's cool with certain people. He just not, I don't know, but okay.
Sure. I think all of it. I think showing that, you know, who he was, right? Not what the perception or what the world was painting Omari to be, and what stories were coming out when they were younger and all these things. I think it was like his team saying, right now, I mean, you have a beautiful woman, you know what I mean? Y'all are happy, you know, she's pregnant, you guys really are amazing together. Like, why not give people the ends to your life and show a different part of who you are? So I think it was at that time just important for him. And so I was like, well, you know, if this is something that you really want to do and I'm your girl, like, cool, I'll do it with you. But I never, even on the show, I was like, I don't, because you know how the reality stuff is. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, like, we want to connect you with this person. I was not down for that. That was something that, like, I think kind of that's why I maintained being a little bit more low key on the show, was because I wasn't willing to do certain things. I was like, I don't really know you. I don't really care to gossip. I don't really want to be, if it's my life, I don't have no problem talking about it. Because, I mean, it's my life. But I don't care about gossiping about, you know, if you were on the show, I was never going to talk about what you had going on. I don't know what you got going on, and I really, truly do not care, you know? So I was able to maintain privacy in that manner because I only merely tried to focus on what me and O had going on, or what was truly going on in my life at the time.
How did you and Omarion meet in the first place?
At the gym. So let me tell you, so there was this California trainer that I was training with, right? He liked me. And I remember he knew that I did music. And he was like, yo, I train Omarion. And, you know, I think he thought that introducing me to him was going to help me and him get closer, right? Because he...
To impress you.
Yeah, to be like, this is who I train. I can help you with music. Let me, you know, connect you with this person. And so I was like, cool. And I mean, I'm not thinking nothing of it, right? And me and O met, and I still wasn't thinking anything of it. He was just cool people. We trained, we talked. He asked me where I was from. I said, Chicago, you know, whatever. And I left the gym. And when I left the gym, I remember not too long after that, I promise it was like 15 minutes, I get a text. And I looked down and it was Amari. And I said, well, how the hell? He texted me. And I was like, I didn't get this man my number. So he must have asked the trainer for my number, and he said, yo, you're so, like, your spirit is amazing. Like, you're super dope. Like, if you ever need anything while you're here in California, because I was new, I had just moved, maybe 3 months at that time. He's like, you know, I'm here to show you around. I can give you some, you know, recommendations, and very just nice and sweet. And I said, oh, that's lovely. I said, I appreciate that. And so, you know, we kind of connected a little bit of time afterwards. And when we hung out, we just used to dance together and talk about spiritual stuff. And like, yeah, I mean, we were friends first for a while.
And obviously you were aware of who he was from B2K and everything else. Out of the B2K members as a little girl, was he you know, the one in the group that you liked the most?
He was.
He was.
Yeah.
So was it surreal to you, like that little girl inside of you, like, oh my gosh, I'm like hanging out with Mari, you know, or no?
No, I don't know. I think that like I passed that at a certain place in my life at a certain age. So by the time I met him, it was like, because I had met a lot of people. Like as I was getting older, I was running and encountering a lot of different artists and people who were famous, things like that. So I think that like part of the butterflies and meeting people kind of were over because I feel like certain people that I did meet, I was like, oh my God, you are not who I thought you were, or you are not as nice.
Girl, welcome to LA. Welcome to LA. And it's so crazy they just said the same thing about her and Fizz at one point, because she was friends with them around the time they started this. And I was just like, what? But I mean, I've heard that a lot about LA. They're not who you think they is.
You're actually really mean. And so I started to be like, oh, okay, these people are real people. And this facade that you think and you're creating for them and this perception that you have isn't truth. Right. And so I think at that time when I met, it was like, oh, you cool. I don't want to peep this out. You know, I didn't think anything of it, but he was so nice to me, you know, and I'm so grateful because I mean, we ended up becoming roommates and everything after that. Like when, it goes.
How fast did you and Omarion like move in together and became like a couple?
Maybe within a year.
Oh, that's not too.
Yeah, but I mean, like we just like spent a lot of time together. Yeah, we spent like a lot of time together, and we became really good friends. I think maybe I moved in around month 9, but like we weren't. Like I stayed in one room and he stayed in the other. Like we weren't sleeping together. It wasn't any of that. He was traveling. He was doing 106 and Park things, and he would come back and be like, "Yeah, I met this girl," and we would banter. It was that kind of relationship, and I'm like, "Oh, so how was it? You know, y'all did what whoop wop the bam?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And it's like we were that close.
Y'all weren't intimate?
I mean, at a point we did get intimate, but even still, I was like, because we were friends. So it wasn't like, I think we really just took our time, really. And maybe that's why he the father of my kids. Because at a point, you know, we really had a level of trust. But we didn't rush. Like, we didn't rush. He messed with girls. He knew that I had dated guys. We were roommates. We danced.
Y'all weren't exclusive?
No, not until maybe like a year and some change afterwards, when he was like, I'm good. I'm good on this. Because I said, you sure? I remember being like, you sure you don't want to get this out your system? You don't need no more. You don't want to get it out your system. He was like, no, I'm good. And I was like, okay, so we can do it. And he took me to Paris and asked me to be his girlfriend in Paris.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words, create your brand.
Nice. I mean,
your opportunity.
And that's her to be his girlfriend.
What's his sign?
Scorpio.
Oh, October, November. My good sis. You did that.
Okay.
And what's your sign?
Sagittarius.
December? You don't play games. Oh, baby. Oh, you don't. You don't play the radio. You mean what you say what you mean. Oh, wow. Sagittarius and a Scorpio. So in Paris, when he asked you to be his girlfriend, which, by the way, Omarion.
Yes, Omari.
You did that. Was that the day you fell in love with him too? Or did you fall in love with him prior to that?
I think I fell in love with him prior.
Yeah.
I think like even in our friendship, there was a level of safety that we both created for each other. And I think there was a level of trust that he had for me because I didn't want anything from him. Like he was really just my friend, and whatever he needed, I was there, and whatever I needed, he was there. So I think it was us both showing up for each other in a capacity that like one couldn't show up for ourselves in, you know? So we kind of helped each other out, and we were providing each other and pouring into each other a level of security and happiness at that time.
You're very grounded.
Yeah.
And you're, and again, today, obviously, they don't know this. It's the first time I'm meeting you. So I'm just soaking up your energy. I don't write down questions. I just love the energy.
Yeah.
You're very grounded. You have like an old soul.
Very much so.
You know what I mean? Like you're very much a grown ass woman. You give me self-assured. You give me, I know what I want. I'm not somebody who could be easily influenced. You make your own decisions. You're not somebody
Come on, man. I mean, is you?
No, I tell people all the time. I love what I do because I feel off the energy of people, and I don't write down questions.
Yeah.
Because,
I love that also.
Because I don't come in like with preconceived notions. I do my research and all that, but I like to feel the energy in the room. And you give me a self-assured woman.
Thank you.
Who is very much aware of her power, and you don't allow people to play with you.
I don't.
That's what I gather from meeting you for the first time and being this presence. Where does that come from? Because oftentimes that comes from the childhood that a young woman has.
I think it comes from a lot.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot in my life. A lot, from childhood to how I've had my relationship with my mom, my father, right?
How was that?
So I was born in Germany. I'm trying to make this short, but born in Germany. Father was incarcerated by the time I was 5 years old. My mom is from Taiwan. We don't have any family here in the States. My mom is the only one from her family in America. And she had to give away my sister and I. So I'm the baby of 4. The sister that's above me, 3.5 years older than me and her were sent to live with my grandmother, my father's mom, in Cincinnati. And she took care of the 2 oldest. And that was really tough because I wasn't raised with my older siblings, and like we would come on holidays, and like my mom was trying to, work 3 jobs to take care of all of us and sending money to my grandmother. And like I had just met my grandmother on my father's side at that age, at 5 years old. So it was like, who is this stranger at the time who ended up becoming fairly my mom, over the course of years, because I stayed with her until I was 11 years old, until my mom raised the 2 oldest siblings and sent them on their way. And then she was like, I want my kids back. My mom, but at that time I didn't know, I didn't understand it. So while I'm over here like, I hate you, I don't like you, it was like, no, like she got these kids on their way, the 2 oldest, she raised them the best she could. And she was like, I want my babies back. And by that time, I think I was just in a space of being so resentful and so angry with my mom. And like, I wasn't raised by my mom. I wasn't raised by my dad. And now you're taking me away from my mom, who is my grandmother. Yeah. So I had all that going on, going from an all Black community, right, in Cincinnati, Ohio, Lincoln Heights, by the way, from there, and then moving to Chicago, a very white predominant community, right? So it was a culture shock. It was like a lot happening. Although I know my mom was trying to do the best that she could do, I think internally I was struggling, right? And so, yeah, I had that with my mom. I've had relationships that have kind of made me grow up quite fairly fast. I have gotten to a place of also having kids, right? And becoming a mother has made me grounded. And yeah, I feel like it's so much, like I feel like I could talk forever about my past, and I don't know how deep I should go. Or
no, however you want to go, because the thing is,
but I do want to explain like why I'm grounded. So
yeah,
but there's but I just feel like there's so many things. So yeah, but
so she basically saying she had to grow up fast. She had to grow up fast. She had to grow up and learn things. I mean, it made sense.
Just say like family dynamic obviously made me grounded, but I think where I'm at now, I feel like this is the most peaceful that I've been. Like I told you, I feel like
you're not going to believe what happened. Tell me everything. I'll show you on Monday.com. So I started the biggest.
Right now, I'm the most grounded that I've ever been in my life because I'm actually doing the work, right? I'm actually doing the inner work. So that means not drinking alcohol. That means fixing my relationships, meaning with my mom, with, siblings, with friends, showing up to be a better mother for my kids, but like going through all of the bad relationships that I went through, going through why I feel the way that I did as a kid and what traumas and triggers that did for me currently, why I wasn't always necessarily the greatest friend. So I feel like I've been in a space of really circling through my life and being like, how can you be the best version that you want to be for not just myself, but for my kids, you know, for my kids. Like, I don't ever want them to show up in the world and not feel loved or not feel like they don't and cannot hold their own. It is important for me to make sure that Mega and Ame know how to operate in a world where it can get really ugly and it can be really not peaceful at all times. And sometimes it's about creating that for yourself, you know? And I've gone through so much. I mean, from, like I said, the childhood to sibling stuff to, you know, coming out to California and having to navigate LA by myself, you know, to public relationships, to slander, to things that like I've had to silence myself. All of those things are things that I feel like are what make me grounded now, because I am doing the work. The grief of my dad, him passing. And that was a really big thing because I never really got an opportunity to fix, right? And so I used alcohol to escape. And that got really ugly for me. And this was just about 2 years ago. And it got so ugly that I thought I was going to die. And no one knew this. I was by myself and I was drinking and drinking on in, not eating. And I remember waking up and looking in the mirror and being like, oh my God, I lost so much weight. My eyes were black. Around my eyes were just black. I remembered, and I felt so sorry for myself. Like, I just remember looking in the mirror and being like, who have you become? Like, really? Like, what are you doing? You know, what are you truly doing? And I was like, yeah, this is when I know, like, it's either life or death at this point. How do you want to show up for yourself? Being a victim or being a victor? And at that point, I remember going into my room, grabbing a journal, just like a notebook, and writing down how I was feeling at that moment and being expressive and being really raw with myself. Like, you know that this is the start to, ending something really ugly. You've got to go through it. And so dealing with the grief of my dad and going through that as well, and actually feeling feelings that
when people go through grieving, that tends to happen. People, let me tell you something. It be different ways that you turn to something. You either go turn into wanting to just, go through it and be better, but at some point you do turn to substance. You find like an outlet, because you know what I'm saying, grieving is a process. Either that's drinking, getting into arguments, fights, stuff like that. It happens to everybody. So when you, especially grieving parents and things like that, you go through that. And she went through that, and I remember around that time she was like, the kids just got back to her because they was with their dad around, but I didn't know it was that bad.
I always try to run from, and being like, oh my God, like, my dad, I'm never gonna get the answers anymore. My dad gone, he dead. So you gonna keep going through this cycle? No, I really sat with that. That was very hard for me. And I am proud to say that I am literally like a year and a half sober. I have not drank alcohol or none of that. And it was for that reason, because I really needed to feel. So now when I go through anything with anyone, or when I'm, having a hard day, I don't run to things to escape. I tell people, I'm like, I gotta feel it. I just told my friend who's in here the other day, I was going through something. I said, I'm not going to meet up with you to go eat. I'm actually going to feel the feelings that I'm feeling right now. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to feel this today, and I'll hit you tomorrow.
If you think your child may have autism, it's important to act quickly. At Action Behavior Centers, we want to reduce barriers to diagnostic support for pediatricians and families. We offer ADOS to...
Did therapy teach you that, or was that just self-work you did on your own?
Yeah, maybe an accumulation of those things, but I feel like really me tapping into the inner work, and I'm, not running. At some point, we've got to stop running. At some point, we as humans have got to be really real with ourselves and face the facts that, like, this is what real life looks like, right? I want the overall, I want the best that I can get out of this life. I mean that, and I know I'm deserving of it. And I believe that people who really do the work, people who really want it, will attain it. And so I'm not interested in all the hoorah and the material, and although those things are nice, great, cool. I want the real friendships. I want the ones where I can cry to my friends and we can bare our souls. I want the relationship with my partner, my husband, who is my best friend, that there is no fear, there is no shame, there is no guilt, that we can talk to each. I want the overall gist of life that I can get from this, because we only live once, right? I want that. I'm deserving of that. I think we all are, but I am a testament to really, I'm doing the work, because I do believe that it's really in the palm of my hands.
Yeah.
It's right here, truly.
No, it is. It is. I mean, you're preaching. You're preaching. You're giving me, I'm going to start calling you Apryl Jakes Roberts.
Wait, what?
You are. No, you're preaching. I'm very spiritual. And what you're talking about so passionately, powerfully, and spiritually, you're changing lives just by your testimony alone, because you are a mother of 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So to even admit publicly that as you're raising 2 kids, you are a mother who fell into the depression of alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like? Like, were the kids with other people? Were you just like, how were you able to juggle all of that?
Yeah. I mean, the kids were with other people, but I mean, there definitely were times where, I would be lying if I said that I didn't drink in my house when my kids were there. I would be lying. I'm not a liar. Yeah. But I think that that's kind of what, made me feel like this ain't, I don't want to be this person.
Yeah.
I never drove drunk or any of that type of stuff with my children, but I think that in grieving my dad, and being in my house at night when they go to sleep, oh no, I'm gonna get lit. You know what I mean? And thank God for the friends that I do have, because they saw in me things that I don't think that I really was trying to be honest with myself about. So my friends were taking turns being with me. And thank you to my tribe, like seriously, like that. When I think about it and I say it out loud, I'm like, man, oof. Because if I didn't have that at the time, I don't really know what or how things would have turned out. But people were literally like, no, Jonesy not good today. Jonesy need a friend. Errol Mome was one of them. Ari, another, just like, we'll take some time. We'll stay. You want to stay for 5 days? Great. Okay, cool. We're going to just grab some clothes and we'll come back. And so everybody was just coming and tapping in with me and making sure that I was like doing all right. And I needed that at that time more than I think anyone truly knows. So.
Did you go to rehab?
I did not. No, it wasn't like that. Like I always socially drank.
Yeah.
Cool. But when I lost my dad,
it compounded. It was the
I was escaping.
Yeah, the intake was to numb the pain and to deal with the reality. And that's the reason why I always tell people this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in labels in general, whether it's your sexuality, your gender, like I don't, and certainly when it comes to like addiction.
Right.
I think oftentimes when people hear like I'm sober, they immediately think of like, were you an alcoholic?
Right, yeah.
And I just feel like those labels can sometimes do damage to somebody telling their story.
Yeah.
I don't drink, first of all. I used to, I just don't anymore.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the way it made me feel.
Right.
And I think and then I go to rehab. I just like, I don't want to drink no more.
That's it.
And I spoke to God about it. I said, God, I ain't trying to do this no more, child. He said, okay, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, because there's people out there who are struggling with identifying their relationship with alcohol. And you don't have to be an alcoholic to go to rehab to stop drinking.
You don't.
What you have to do is really sit still and say, my relationship with alcohol is unhealthy.
Right.
And unhealthy looks differently. It could be unhealthy in terms of dieting. It could be unhealthy in terms of too much intake because I'm dealing with pain.
Yeah.
It could be unhealthy due to just, I don't like having hangovers and headaches. I don't like feeling that way anymore.
Right.
So I give you all the praise and props in the world for being so open about it, because let's be clear, in our industry, everything is surrounded and celebrated around drinking. You sold the show, let's go to drink. Girl, I got PTO approved. We're having a celebration.
Everything.
Our industry promotes alcohol as a way of celebrating milestones.
That is the truth. If you pay attention, it's always a wine, a champagne, a whiskey, a liqueur, mixed cocktail. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a thing. But if people don't know how to control their substance, like she said, she was going through something. And at some point, people got to understand drink became a drink.
And that is something that don't get talked about enough. So I wanted to let you know that your bravery, I know is going to change people's lives just by hearing that, because a lot of people just have unhealthy relationships with it.
Yeah.
But they feel like, I'm not an alcoholic, so what does that mean? So I'm glad that you cleared that up for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that rehab truly is just for people who feel like they need more additional help. Yeah. And that's okay. You know, sometimes you might need more help in certain areas, right? But yeah, I mean, I was always, like I said, a social drinker. So I was fine. But it went to the grief that I was like, okay, buddy. This I knew for myself. I was like, this ain't right.
Yeah.
You know, because things was changing.
Yeah.
You know, the skin was getting gray. The face was looking like, I said, oh no, the glow is gone, baby. The glow was gone.
And baby, the glow is back. You're back. No, honey.
Thank you.
Baby.
Okay.
10 out of 10. So talk to me about your decision to move to California, and what was the decision-making process of you even wanting to do that? Because that's a big move.
Okay, so I always wanted to move to California, right? Like, I mean, young girl, we watch movies like Land of the Dreams where it's made. And I'm like, well, shoot, I know that I want to do music. I was in a girl group at the time. And I was like, look, that is where I'm going. Cool. My mom wanted me to do school. Very Asian of her, very cultural. Okay. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make you happy. So I went to school. I got my degree. I worked at Northwestern Memorial Hospital for 2 years, was thriving, living on Michigan Avenue, thriving, feeling real cutesy. And I said, you know what? At this point, it's time for me to do what I want to do. Because I did what...
She still has her degree. She has it in radiology. I think it's a BSN or something like that. She has her degree. So when people saw her with her nursing outfit, she was like, I do radiology. That's what she does. That's what she does on off, like before the show, all of that stuff. She still had her degree. She just, I guess she works it when she can. I don't know, or you know, or she take time off or so. But she has her degree in it. She just posted a couple of months ago, like a month ago, that's she goes to work and that's what she does when she's not filming.
You wanted me to do. And not that I didn't want to do that. I just knew that in my spirit, something was calling me to come to California. Like, try it. So I did. And I did not tell my mom. My mom was mad. Sometimes she still, when we talk about it jokingly, she'll be like, girl, you crazy. Because I literally was like, I'm quitting my job. I'm putting my 2 weeks in. I'm not telling this woman because I know she's going to force me to stay. So I'm going to put the 2 weeks in. I'm going to pack everything up, get everything squared away. And then literally a few days before I go, I'm going to tell my mama I'm leaving. And that's exactly what I did. And she's like, what do you mean you leaving? And I was like, I'm gone. And she's like, what do you mean you got to pass it? All of it's packed up and everything. Like, so she couldn't force me to stay. And I ended up leaving and coming out to California. And that was 2012. I have not moved back home.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it.
Since.
What was life like for you in California? That is 13 years ago. This like social media was kind of around, but it wasn't the thing. But baby, Hollywood, for a pretty girl like yourself, was there tons of fun, but also tons of like bad decision making?
Oh yeah, it was all of it. Yeah. You know, a lot of partying. You know, a lot of late night studio nights. A lot of just watching other people do bad things. You know what I mean? And being like, what is this? I always told myself I wasn't even gonna be in these rooms. Like, what the world? And so, you know, at this point, feeling a level of guilt for even allowing myself to see things and not say anything and not stick up for what I felt, right? And being like, wow, like this stuff really exists out here, from the drugs to, you know, the women. And Man, I saw a lot. A lot that has definitely, made me grow as a person. But also, I'm kind of glad that I did because I had a perception of what California was. You watch movies and you're like, oh my God, it looks like this and it's this and Hollywood is this. And it's like, this Hollywood. Like, you come out here, you like, this is the stars. You know what I mean? Did you feel that way? I'm like,
oh, absolutely. I was like,
I said, this is.
I heard about Skid Row, but Hollywood, it's a little skittish.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah.
And like I said, then being in rooms with people and like certain artists or, getting invited to parties and being like, wow, like some people really are not what they are when you watch them. And like people really are struggling and people are real drunks. And like, I got to see all the things.
Were you sexually harassed?
I mean, I definitely feel like I don't do music as much as I would want to because when I was doing music as a woman in the industry, the guys always want to talk to you. So to me, it wasn't about my art. It wasn't about the craft anymore. It became like, I don't want to be annoyed. I don't want to be bothered. And I don't want to feel like if I'm doing music with you, that you feel like you're expecting me to give up the cookie. Not happening. We're not doing that. And so I felt like I was running into these spaces of like, okay, this is what kind of comes with the industry, and people have those conversations. This is what comes with it. No, it's not. And I would rather keep my dignity than allow myself to ever do that for a song.
Do you feel like the reason why you don't have a singing career is because you made the choice not to sleep around for tracks?
No, I don't want to say it's because I didn't want to sleep around for tracks.
Is it because the men in the industry make it uncomfortable for you to even focus?
I mean, that could be a part of it, right? It could be a part of it, but I don't always, because I'm so optimistic at how I look at life, I'm like, it wasn't intended.
I perceive that.
If it was for me, then it was going to be for me. You know what I mean? And I think like there was a lot of factors as maybe to why I didn't, it could have been also I had kids, right? When I was getting ready to really hop into the music and all this stuff and, was supposed to help me at the time, I got pregnant. So I had to put the music on hold. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was like a lot of different factors. And then because I was in a relationship, was like, well, I really want you, I want to work with you. I don't really want these other people to work with you. So that was another thing of like waiting on my partner and wanting him comfortable because he didn't really want me to be out here with, and I get that. That's fair.
No, and listen, O has seen a lot. I have friends who are females in the music industry.
Yeah.
And one thing they all said to me, separate of each other, right, was the fact that there's a reason why a lot of women have their boyfriends or husbands manage them, because it's one less thing to worry about when you're trying to just do the work. That the industry respects the female artist when a man who is her boyfriend or husband is like, this is my girl, and you're going to talk to me directly about what you need from her, because what you're not going to do is, would you say that that's...
I think you have to have a really strong team around you. I feel like I heard Tim say something as well about like that in an interview maybe within the past year where she was speaking about, being an artist and doing music and kind of feeling like, people want her, like she covered herself up or something. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Like she covered herself up and she dresses down like, so she's not found attractive, but it's like crazy. It's like, you really got to have the mentality to do what you kind of want to do, because you know that if you dress up, men are probably going to, more than likely gawk at you and be like, hey. And it's like, can you not? I just really want to hit these notes, real quick, And
not have you try to like hit it.
Yeah.
I know. No, I know. It's a real thing, and that's why I'm happy that you ladies have definitely been outspoken about what happened in this industry. So you're in California. You're trying to figure things out. You meet Omarion. The show contacts you guys. What was it like filming Love and Hip Hop Hollywood? Because at the time we had New York, and we had Atlanta, and Hollywood was the third installment.
Was it?
Yeah. Hollywood was third. It was only New York and Atlanta. After
True.
Hollywood, it was Miami.
True.
So here you are on a show that is uber popular. Did you watch Atlanta, New York?
Some parts, not like fully throughout. I didn't even hardly watch Hollywood fully throughout. But I was also pregnant. You know what I mean? It was a different boat for me because I was the pregnant girl on the show. So I was very hormonal. I really didn't want to be bothered. I was already like, I'm doing this for you, man. And like big belly. You know, I gave birth on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that for me, I was in just a very different space. And I really don't feel like I was being bothered initially, except by O's mom at the time. You know, that everybody got to see, which was like, girl, pipe down. Like, why are we fighting here? Like, I'm not you not me. I respect your position. Just please disrespect mine. And I think that was the most that people saw in Love and Hip Hop. And, you know, we're in a better place as well. Hi, Leslie.
So y'all are good.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just kind of that. The first year.
Did you, as you were filming the show and you're doing this for your partner, did you want to quit after the first season? Like, was it difficult for you, like the comments and like?
Oh no, I don't read comments. That's the trick. No.
Even like as a newbie, because I feel like all newbies read them at first. So you did not even like subscribe to that notion?
No, because I feel like then I have the choice, right? To determine how I want to show up every day, how I want to wake up every day. And I felt like, I don't know what people are going to say. I don't know if what you say is going to affect me. So I'd rather just not be affected by what you have to say. And I'd rather coast through and have the choice to have a great day. So I didn't, but it wasn't until friends would come to me and be like, girl, everybody, you know, rooting. And I was like, oh, this is great. Because people love the fact that I just like didn't allow myself to be talked badly to by Leslie, or, you know what I mean? So people were like, no, that's not right. She pregnant. And they was rooting. So I was like, oh, so I kind of knew from people around me that at this point, like all is well. So if I did decide to read anything, most of what was going to come my way was going to be positive at the time. But I don't to this day, I don't really read comments like that.
Good for you.
I don't.
Good for you.
And I do know I have to engage y'all. So I do my best to go on there, but
your mom.
and then I don't really want to, sometimes I will say slick stuff back in a way because I'm like, girl, I was you before. You like, I get it. Like, I really be trying to be nice to people, but also even in my comments, they probably like, you can't hate me. Like, you just can't. Like, I'm not a mean person. You know what I mean? I know people want to make me out to be this way, but I'm like, look, so I do try to engage even with the people that are mean to me. I'm like, I know they probably hate me even more because you can't hate me after I respond as nicely. Like, girl, if you don't get God, because you know, God gonna make sure he see us through, right? Like, I'll just respond, you know.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. I get they just got to deal with what we got today. But well, no, my thing is this. Omarion mama had called it out a long time ago. And she did at first read. She started, I'm at the debunker. She did start reading the comments, then she stopped. But she was reading them comments because she responded to some things that people said. And she went live responding about the game and working with the game because she was supposed to work on a song with the game. I guess it never happened because whatever situation they had. But yeah, that's what happened.
You know, in those kind of ways. And they're just like, girl, whatever.
They're mad because they want you to like, because again, it's all about algorithm. It's all about like the more they can feed into it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you don't subscribe to that. That's really good. And stay that way. Where do you think things went awry in your relationship with Omarion?
Life. I think that life happened. I think, you know, it's funny. I was listening to the song by Alex Warren called "First Time on Earth," right? And it just came to me where it's literally like, this is all of our first time on Earth, right? Like, no one knows how anything goes, right? You just kind of coast through. We don't know how to be a parent. Like, we're learning as we're going through things. And so I feel like that was kind of like the space that he was in at the time. When I got pregnant with my daughter, he was like, wait a minute, okay, we about to have baby number 2. I don't know. I'm maybe guessing for him, but he kind of was in a different space. And I think when he went to Dubai, he had came home one day off a trip and he was just like, just kind of like need a break. And I was like,
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
okay.
No warning signs?
Mm-mm.
You guys weren't like arguing or like,
No.
Wow.
Apryl.
Yeah. But I get it. I get it. Like,
But at the time though,
I didn't.
you didn't.
Yeah.
So he literally came home and just said, I need a break from this.
Yeah, that he wasn't happy with certain the women that was in his life. You know, he was like, I'm just kind of like feeling like, I think he was feeling a lot of pressure. You know, Omari takes care of his family, and like, you know, he's that for his family. And so I think, you know,
That's
it was
true.
at a point where he came home and he was just like, this is too much for me. And I was like, well, this is too much for me too. I am pregnant with our second child. Like, what does that mean? And yeah, I said, okay, I'll give you a good month to let me know why it is that you feel this way.
Yeah.
And he never did. He never was expressive to me about why he needed this break.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, okay, I had to think, well, if my daughter came home and she told me, you know, that this happened to her, what would I tell my daughter? To get the fuck up out of there. That's what I would say, excuse my French. And so I decided to get an apartment and I decided to move out of our home. And that's kind of the split.
I'm sorry. I know this happened. I'm sorry. I'm stuck in the moment with you because my heart bleeds for you only because
I remember on that episode where she was pregnant and she was, because they did film the second one, and she was I forgot who she was talking to, which other, I'm not sure if it was Monique's or it was Nikki Barbie, but they were talking to her and she was just like, that's what it was, like that relationship was over and done with. She had packed her stuff and left with the baby in tow in her belly.
I can't imagine that one day you're thinking everything is peachy cream and like status quo, and then your partner comes home and says, I just can't do this anymore. I'm bleeding inside for you.
And I was going to postpartum, but that's a whole other thing. I think also too, that was something that he discussed with me where he was like, I don't know how to deal with this. And I'm like, and neither do I. Like, I'm waking up on the edge of my bed. And for any woman that has postpartum, I mean, it's not something you can really describe, right? Because there's different feelings and emotions that come with that. Some women want to kill their kids. Some women don't. Some women wake up and we're numb. We don't feel, you know, and I kind of was waking up like that, like on the edge of my bed and just sitting there being like, what is this? Like, what is all this? I don't want it. Like, what is this? You know, and like, well, I couldn't understand why I was feeling like that, because I was grateful to be alive and I was happy, but those are the hormones that we experience. And so I'm like, while you are saying that you don't know how to deal with this, oh my God, I don't either, but I need your support. I need you to show up for me in this moment. Love me when things are good. I'm all for that. But love me when stuff is bad, when it gets hard, when it's not easy. Can you show up for me? Can you be that person that I need you to be? Like, that was a transition for me too that I wasn't used to, right? I don't know what it's like having kids. I don't know why I'm experiencing this stuff. And so at that time, when he told me that, I was holding on to the hope. That's why I was like, I'm gonna give you a month. And when he couldn't tell me why, I'm like, I knew I was in that month. I was revamping my resume. I was, doing what I needed to do so that I can rebuild my life, because I was an at-home mother. And so that's when I went back to work. And anyone that followed me during that time, there are people who know I was putting my life on Snapchat at that time. I was breastfeeding at Watts. I was working at Martin Luther King Hospital here in Watts. Outside of that breakup, telling people, if you're tired and all, you can still do it. My daughter was 2 months at that time. I was breastfeeding 2 babies, pumping every day, working a 12-hour shift. You know what I mean? Going through a complete breakup while everybody was loving me at the time. And it's like, yeah, but no one internally knew what I was dealing with because I wasn't publicly speaking about it. I never talked about it. I never went into detail about it. And listen, I don't blame I think I'm in a place and space now where I can talk about it because it is my life and I have the right to talk about it. But we were young, we were young. I'm 38 now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we met when I was 23 years old. And sometimes we don't necessarily know how to show up for one another. Sometimes we don't have it all together. Maybe I'm sure that's something he lives with to this day. Maybe not. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
what happened?
Was he supporting you financially still, or you had to just figure things out on your own?
In the beginning, yes. Like in
Yeah, they was young because I think around that time, I think her son and Moniece and Fiz's son are around the same age. They were young too when they had Cam. Very young.
the beginning, and then I had to figure things out. But it wasn't very like long. And also like where people are always like, I've always been independent. Okay. I don't require anyone to take care of me. While that is a beautiful thing, I'm grateful for, I love my independence. It was really hard in my relationship for Omari because he wasn't working. And I remember I was bringing home the money initially in the beginning of our relationship. And then the roles flipped with Love and Hip Hop, and Post to Be came out. He was making money and he was like, listen, you've taken care of, things enough. Now it's time for me to do it. And I was pregnant. And so the roles flipped. But yeah, I think we helped each other. Like, you know what I mean? We helped each other. I've always been independent. I've never asked or required Amari to do anything for me, but I did need him to help. You know what I mean? If I'm coming off of being an at-home mom and I'm not working and I go back and I'm doing my radiology stuff, yeah, you're gonna have to help. Yeah, I don't have any other option, right?
Yeah.
So like you gotta kind of foot the bills for a little bit.
That shouldn't even be a question.
So that happened for a little while, and then when I was able to pay my stuff, it was what it was.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. So Novella changed that.
Introducing the
But yeah,
I'm sorry.
thanks.
That's a lot. And it was interesting is I did an interview with Kirk and Rashida, and obviously a lot of people have so many things to say about their relationship. When I did the interview, I think 2 months ago, it was the first time Rashida said, because I watched the show and I know them personally, but I'm not gonna be in their business like that. Hey, what's going on? Long story short, Rashida said I was going through postpartum, and Kirk didn't recognize me anymore. I'm paraphrasing. We would be in the same bed together, and I would be crying, and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" And how she wouldn't let him touch her. It was a whole thing. And he just didn't know what to do. So unfortunately, he would go out to the strip clubs, and long story short, the baby he had on her, he met out, and he wasn't cheating on her with multiple women. He cheated on her with this one woman that he got pregnant. And he said he said, I'm not blaming my wife. What I'm saying is we didn't have the vocabulary to put a word on what she was going through. We just weren't connecting. So
I'm talking and I'm on mute. He talking about Kurt and Rashida. He basically saying that that's how Kurt and Rashida had, when Kurt had that son with Jasmine, was because Rashida was going through postpartum around that time, and they weren't talking. Rashida wasn't doing what she was doing now. They didn't have conversations at all.
What you're talking about, I understand, and that's why I appreciate you that even today you can also just give grace to the situation, because I feel like our community don't talk about postpartum enough, and unfortunately men don't have the tools to help their woman deal with the aftermath of having a baby, what it does to her body emotionally, physically. And listen, I my heart goes out to you.
Thank you
for being a woman dealing with that and having to, like a lot of Black women, buckle up the pants and just go out there and
I agree. I don't think so either. Knowing her, no, she didn't
figure this shit out. And I just couldn't imagine that. I just can't imagine that.
Yeah, I don't think we really have a choice, right? Because now kids are here, and then it's like, well, what are we to do? and all while experiencing that. I mean, it is awful. It is absolutely awful. And I do hope that people do educate themselves more about this, you know, especially the men who are wanting to have kids, you know, because it is true. Like women, the, you know, possibility of women falling into postpartum does happen. So, you know, maybe that should start being a thing. We should start speaking about, like, prior to, start educating yourself about what that looks like. So that way you do know how to show up. You know what I mean? Like, you can, as the best to your ability, you know what I mean? But like ghosting and like, you know, not being there, I mean, that's just, it's awful. And having to refigure that out on your own, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
I feel like the way you got to go to premarital counseling before getting married, I feel like there should be some sort of class that you take while you're having a baby. Because again, I think I'm not blaming any of the guys. I think men also have to be educated on there's a possibility this may happen, and these are the signs. And when this happens, this is what you do. So I think there should be classes for that. One thing I want you to address is obviously one of the most controversial things that happened on the show was you dating Omarion's bandmate Fizz.
Okay.
And a lot of people felt like, oh my gosh, girl, that is like the biggest no-no. How dare you? What's going on? I've never heard you explain it to the point in terms of like what happened. And I do reality television, and I know that you're not able to see everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to ask you questions based on what I saw on the show, because that to me isn't necessary when it comes to that sensitive situation. And I just want you to be able to explain to the world their curiosity into like, how does that happen? You did say in an interview before that Fizz was there for you emotionally as a friend, and then things happens.
Well, I think that people watch reality TV and then their timing and all of that. Like when me and O did the show, that was 2014, 13 going into 14, because I was pregnant with Mega. And then you're talking about me not going back on the show to 18, 19. So it was like 5 years had already passed of not being on the show. And there was a lot of stuff personally that transpired between that time, right? Wasn't like, yes, cool, in a band together. But like, what does that look like behind closed doors? Are they really friends? Do they really spend time together? All the things, like, you know, we have to take all that into consideration. At that time, me and Drew really did become good friends from the show, me coming back onto the show. And I was dealing with so much at the time, like so much, going through court with BD. Like, it was just a lot of things happening for me. What I will say, is that I'm grateful for him at that time, because I didn't have any family. I don't have any family here. But he was a friend, someone who made sure that I was good. Like if I needed anything, if I wasn't getting sleep, you know what I mean? And I was literally at my wit's end, he'd be like, maybe you need, he was there. He was there. And so I will say that I'm grateful for him in that time frame. And yeah, things were intimate between me and him, obviously, clearly. But that was a real life that I was living. It wasn't anything trying to get back at O at the time. O was far gone. I mean, we hadn't been together already at that point, like I said, for 5-6 years. Like, it wasn't a thing. You know, my real life was happening here. And as a woman who was vulnerable and who was going through a lot of things at the time, I just feel like he was there as someone that I trusted in that time of my life. And I didn't feel or see anything wrong with it. I wasn't married. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I had kids. They're not cool. Like, to me at that time, it didn't feel wrong. Now, while I can understand the world's perspective, while I could see it stepping outside and what that looks like, I get it and I respect it. You know what I mean? We are now in, 2025, about to be 2026. You're talking about 6 years now has gone by. And there has been a lot of evolution within me, a lot of growth. And that situation is something that I can also look back on and be like, man, like emotionally where I was, maturity in where I was, and like even where me and O are now. And like, so it was a time in my life where, there was a lot that was happening and I was, extremely vulnerable.
That crap was messy as hell. It was messy. because it like I agree with somebody. Somebody say she knew their friendship a long time ago. Right, exactly. It was messy. He was feeling some type of way, just like the rest of the group. Like Jay Bull said, they were feeling some type of way. She knew they had a strong friendship. She knew they grew up together. She knew what it was, and he did too. And it messed up their money. So that's why they broke up, because he blamed her for messing up his money when they did the tour. They didn't get paid like he got paid either.
Well, but I wouldn't change it based on the circumstances that I was in at the time. Just like any, like I said, woman who has someone who's a friend and a person that you trust, like that's a person that you could fall in love with. It's a person who you're going to tell your deepest and darkest secrets to, and who's going to listen. And I think that's just kind of what it was at the time, you know?
Did you fall in love with Fizz?
No, Fizz was not my type.
Okay.
Fizz was a great friend.
He wasn't your type, then what was it?
Fizz was someone I felt safe with. But that was it. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for him. Literally, at that time, he was a great friend. So,
how did Omarion find out?
I think publicly, maybe not. Let me think before I speak. I don't really remember. I don't know if I said something.
He found out just like the rest of us find out, because Monique said something. She told J Boog, and J Boog told Omari.
Or maybe he's seen us. I know he saw us hanging out because we were on blogs together. So he saw us hanging out before the show ended up coming out, but he didn't say anything. It wasn't talked about. Like me and weren't good. We didn't talk.
Y'all weren't on speaking terms.
No, we were not. Okay. Me and him were not good at that time. So yeah, and they weren't. So you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, it's interesting. I know what it could look like on the outside world, right? Because these people grew up together and they were in a band together, but like people grow apart, and it happens every day where you see people who grew up together and then, like, but it doesn't mean that like they were friends is what I'm trying to say. So it wasn't like we were.
Doesn't mean that most of them people in a group together wasn't backdooring they baby daddy or baby mama group friends. Like it don't work like that.
Together no. It wasn't that.
Did Omarion feel like you betrayed him?
I'm sure.
But he didn't say it to you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he said it to me. No. I mean, I think there were that back in the day was so blurry. I'm gonna be honest with you, just because there was so much going on. Like, I don't think he ever came out and said, "You betrayed me," but I think he was like, "Come on, Apryl." Like, if we were having the conversations, there was anger there. Like, "Come on, Apryl, come on." I'm like, "Come on." Like, okay, you know what I mean? But like I said, I can see where he felt away. I mean, I can see how, again, the perspective of the world, how they felt. But I was living a real life. I was really going through some things.
Baby, she was taking a heat. When I tell you, when B2K came back out and said they were finna do a concert, and she was the minds behind the situations going on and why nobody couldn't come up with the budget and why nobody know they were getting paid, baby, they bashed the hell out of that girl. They blamed her for all of it, and they blamed Fizz because they felt like she messed up the concert. But now we got a Pandemonium concert coming up and she's not in the middle of it. So we'll see how that goes.
I had a friend at that time to me that was there, and I was grateful for him. And that's just as simple and real as it gets. You know what I mean? And you grow. I mean, to me, that situation was something that happened in my life that I felt like at that time, like, of course I experienced, but I was grateful for a friend at that time, truly. And I look at that time back then, and I don't feel a way fully about it because, again, me and O weren't good. It was nothing funny happening behind closed doors. It was literally like, me and this person, me and O ain't good, cool. And now I look at life now and I'm like, God, we've come such a freaking long way.
Yeah.
Because the father of my kids and I mean, we just went to go see a school yesterday. We hugging each other and giving each other hugs and being like, yo, you know what I mean? What you feel about the school? Like, we care what each other, like, so it's been just a lot of growth is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of growth for sure.
So one of the things that came out of that obviously is Little Fizz child's mother is Moniece.
Okay.
Who obviously publicly, you know, eviscerated you. She felt like you two were friends. These are her words, not, you know, I'm sure you saw or heard that. Moniece felt like you and her were friends, and she felt betrayed by the intimacy that you and Fizz had as friends. Would you say that you did break the girl code with Moniece?
There's a lot of work that goes into making a podcast. The setup is one thing, then you've still got to edit.
I would say no, but you know, we all define friendship differently, right?
She didn't at all. I felt like with the fans, it was like a get back regardless, because people were paying their money to see all of them. And then when she, did that and things came out, she messed up seeing all of them. We didn't see Fizz on tour. We saw Raspy, Omarion, and J Boog. We did not see them because of that. And she knew what she was doing. She's talking about Lil Fizz.
So no, if that's my truthful answer. While I can understand that we're on a show and these people are connecting us and we appear to be cool because that's reality TV, cool, that's her perspective. And I don't want to take that away from her. But to me, no.
No, Apryl, call it what it is, because from what Moniece said, she told you stuff that she knew how her and Fizz were co-parenting. Like you knew how they were co-parenting. You knew the co-parenting was very rough, and half of the time he'll be cool with her, and then all of a sudden he'll switch up for certain reasons. Like, it was still kind of shaky. Like, he was like, he'll be supportive, but then again, like, he'll be at the funny at the same time. So she knew that. She knew the issues that they were having with the school. She knew the issues, all that stuff. She knew what was going on.
No, this wasn't someone I talked to about my life. This wasn't someone that I was with 24/7. This wasn't, I don't know what, you know, we've seen each other on filming sets and in passing. And so no.
Y'all weren't friends outside of filming?
No, I mean, we would see each other, you know what I mean? Like, if I see her, hey, you know, give her, but like, this wasn't, to me, friends are people that you go to, you spend a lot of time with, you speak to them about your life, you speak to them about what you have going on. Like, this wasn't that to me. But I will never want to negate what she feels, by no means, because again, people see friendship differently, right? So yeah, I mean, if she felt that way, I know me and Moniece have had these, you know, on the show, but to me, no.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say. No.
She said recently that at her funeral, she would love for you to be there in the back 5 pews, but then you would have to leave and you're not allowed to go to the repast.
What?
When was this said? This was said recently?
To me. On my show.
No, so she wouldn't have to worry about that. And honestly, I wish nothing but the best for her. Genuinely. I don't hold grudges in my spirit. I mean, I haven't seen Moniece since I filmed on that show, and that again was 6 years ago.
Y'all don't run into each other?
No. I have not seen that girl in almost 7 years, right? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, almost 8 years, baby. So you're talking about 8 years and you still feel that way? That's the inner work that I'm talking about, though. that's the inner work that we actually have to really start doing within ourselves. I don't hold a grudge. I don't feel no way. I don't feel a way about, you know, what O has done to me, because we could go on and on and on. I don't feel no.
But she gotta understand, that girl was going through something bad, and she was talking to you about it. So she gonna feel that way. You can't tell her to do the inner work. She feels that way about you. Like, you knew what was going on. You knew how he did it. You kind of slick antagonized her. Yeah, Erica. She knew. She knew. She knew.
way. And as a woman who experienced certain things that I choose and tend to not talk about, I still show up and honor and respect and say, you the father of my kids. And one minute, look, you can hate folks. The next minute, you can love them all over again. But what we gonna decide, what we gonna choose to do, right? Life is not perfect. You're gonna go through ups and downs. I'm just a realist. So while she may feel like that, honey, I do not have to show up to your funeral. I will pray and I will be sad that you are gone and hope that your soul has reached the heavens.
Hey, Erica.
But I hope that before she closes her eyes and she does not wake up, that you really do the inner work. Do the inner work. Like, I don't even know I'm even a topic of conversation at all about even being at the funeral.
Well, she got to understand that was last year that she felt that way. I don't know if Monique still feels that way, but Monique did express that she felt some type of way about that because she feels like her and April had conversation. Exactly. I feel right. And that's how Monique's feel.
Like, this is just me being really honest. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that we have to do the work. Time goes on, and it's okay. It's okay.
Why waste another summer not loving your body?
With Base 44, we turn that question into a...
I am not mad. I feel no way. If I saw her, I'd say, hey, girl. Really?
And
I would hope that you say hi back. I would hope that we could get to that place. Like,
they'll still speak. It just don't negate how she feels.
Life goes on and it gets better when you make choices to have a better life. I'm not who I was 7 years ago. I'm not who I was 5 years ago. Sorry if that's what you need to hear. Sorry to anyone that feels like they were betrayed or they were hurt. We do that when we are not in good spaces and places in our life.
Just say that.
So I'll say I'm sorry to anyone who has felt like at these times in my life when I didn't know how to coast through, when I didn't know what I was dealing with, when I didn't have the answers to it, that maybe a hurt person could have hurt people. Sure, I'll take that. I will take the accountability. But I will say this, you're going to get a very different version of me now these days.
Okay.
These days, because I am doing the work. So I'm not going to run into these same issues, right? I'm choosing to elevate and I'm choosing to grow. And I think that's what life is about. What are we going to do with those moments? Are we going to stay stagnant? Are we going to still hate? Are we still going to be angry? No. Let's live a fruitful life. That's what I want. That's where I'm going. Nothing but love here.
I like you a lot.
I'm just saying, but I understand. And she has the right to feel how she feels. Everybody does. And at their own time, may they forgive, may they not. That's on them. But I choose not to sit in these spaces any longer. Hell, I don't really even want to talk about half the stuff we've talked about today. And that's just being fully honest, because this is 8 years ago, right? But I haven't talked about my story. I think it's important. I have shelled myself down because I was in spaces, maybe in a space where I'm like, I don't want people to feel like, no, this is my story and I'm going to stand by my story. And I should speak about it. And I shouldn't feel bad for talking about what truly happened to me. Or even if I did hurt someone, that's the space I was in. Why am I I'm a human. I'm human. Okay. At least I can own it though. I want to, if I have to be one of the only ones to stand on this earth and be like, yeah, well, I'll take the slander for being human, then fuck it. I'll be that. That's what I'll do. But ain't nobody about to make me feel bad or make me feel like, no, we're growing. That's why I'm over here. Okay. Y'all ain't heard from me in how many years?
It's been a while.
Okay. Can we just say, A long time, y'all. I hope after this that we can when y'all have me do interviews, y'all really just ask me some,
No, but that's the reason why I said at the top of the interview that I wanted you to know that this is an opportunity to just clear the air with everything else so you can move on with your life and people can say, she has said on this platform, if you want to know, watch this, hit play, record, pause, and screenshot it. So I'm happy that we're able to do that. On to happier times, though. Your personality came in full display when we saw you and Tay Diggs do all these amazing videos.
That was fun.
We were shocked, and by we, I'm included, that you two even knew each other but were dating. Like, how did that even come about?
You want the truth? Okay. No, he DM'd me.
I mean,
DMs work.
They do.
I mean, and it was really just simple. He was just like, "You're hilarious," and I just said, to show my friend. He said, "It's Tay Diggs saying you're hilarious." Like, you're funny. Like, how am I funny? Like, and that's just how it started.
What was it like dating Tay Diggs? I mean, how Stella got her groove back, best man, chocolate and fine. And
now remind you, she's older than me by a year. Tay Diggs, me and her was the same age when Stella, when Stella got that groove back. We were like a year apart in a couple of months, maybe so. So I was like, we were the same age. I was like, So I was shocked. I liked it, Tay Diggs, for her. Now, I don't know what happened, but I think I know what happened since she said that. But I like that. I liked him for her.
Funny.
It was great. It was great while it was great. And we had some good times. We laughed a lot. How these videos even came up, it was just like, I don't even know. Like, we were so random. We would have the most randomest moments and be like, well, grab the phone. You know what I mean? Like, because we would crack ourselves up. And so we'd be like, we got to share this joy. And that's kind of how these videos kind of came to be. And then we realized, like, oh, shoot, like people really are happy and people really do feel good. But yeah, we had fun. Me and Tay had fun.
How long were y'all together?
Over a year and some change.
Did y'all move in together?
We did not.
Oh.
That is I don't like to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to Visible, the ultimate wireless hack.
So why didn't it work out?
Why didn't it work out? I will say this about Tay and I. I think that I will say this truthfully. We went to therapy because I think we spoke different. We had different communication styles, So we did do therapy, which I think is healthy for all.
I'm like, that's
partnerships.
Amazing.
And so we did. I think we tried. I think we tried to understand each other. I think sometimes it doesn't always pan out. I think sometimes the communication can hit a roadblock. And I think that that's kind of what just happened. I think like I may have felt like I needed certain, things that he wasn't. And then and it was just like, well, I'm telling you. And he's like, well, I'm telling you. And it's like, okay, well, can we understand? And we just couldn't get there. And that's okay. Yeah. I did just see him though in New York, which is so interesting because we went to Alicia Keys. What was it?
Oh, Hell's Kitchen, the play.
Hell's Kitchen
On Broadway.
Yeah, and a friend of mine was like, I'm gonna take you to this Broadway play. And I was like, okay. And this man, Mr. Tay, was sitting 4 seats ahead of me. I said, what the world? But I didn't know. And as the intermission happened, I look over and there's a Black woman to my right. And she's like, hey, April. I said, hey, girl. She's like, Tay just walked by. I said, what you mean Tay just walked by? He surely did, right? I didn't see him. But I look back, I'm like, well, where is he? And so I'm like, oh, no, is he here? Oh, my goodness. Because we hadn't seen each other for a while, right? Uh-huh. And we hadn't seen each other, especially like how I'm now, like sober and all these things. So I was like, oh, my God, like, what is this going to be like? And I remember going to the back and calling his assistant and being like, Troy, is he here? He's like, don't tell me you at the Hell's Kitchen, man. And I was like, I am. And as I was on the phone, he walks by. He didn't even recognize me. Believe it or not. Did not recognize me. And he was with some friend. And they go over by the stairs. And they're like staring. And I'm like, yo, this is weird. Like, they're just like staring at me. Like, this is so strange. Mind you, because I lost 37 pounds. Like, I'm very, like, yes. So I go over. And I said, I'm going to just say hi. And so I go over. And he's like, hey, and he's like, oh my God. He like literally, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And he was like,
she said they needed therapy. I think they were very funny. And, you know, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think they knew how to take each other seriously in a way to have serious conversations. Because to me, it sounded like they were having a lot of fun. And they had to have serious conversations, but they were just enjoying the fun. If you get my drift.
oh my God. And he told me, he's like, you've been literally on my spirit for some reason. You've been sitting heavy on me. He was like, I don't know what is going on with you and what conversations you're having with God or what God is doing, but like your light is really bright. And it's to the point where energetically I'm feeling, he was like, I swear to you, I literally was thinking like, I'm going to be running into her really soon because I could feel you kind of thing. And so we had this exchange and it was really cool. We talked.
Oh my gosh.
And we had a little light banter. We laughed. And he was like, you looking good, and I was like, you look good too. And it was cute. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes that's how relationships are. Sometimes two people recognize that like it just doesn't go further than where it goes. And who's to say that something later on down the line couldn't revisit itself when folks grow up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what happened with us. But it was fun while it lasted. It was great.
Do you miss him?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh God, I could say that I miss people.
Hey.
I mean, he ain't the only relationship I had. I don't know how to lie. Okay. I could say I miss a few because I do love people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But you know how like that one that you would buy like circling the block?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, sure. No, I miss I will always say I miss the friendship of people before I say like the intimacy and all of that. I can do without. But I do miss the laughter. But I also recognize when things come to an end, they just come to an end, and I'd be okay with that. I'm one that can keep it pushing. Fortunately, unfortunately, it's like, oh, the ship has literally sailed, and it's like, bitch, it docked. Are you gonna stay on, or are you gonna get off? And I'd be like, okay, come on, let me grab my bag and go ahead and get off, and I'll be okay with getting off. And it'll go back into the ocean, and other people will get on that boat, and they will enjoy the ride. And I'll be over here on the beach sipping my pina colada.
I'm gonna be honest. I think she wanted, to me, I think she kind of wanted something. Somebody wanted something a little more, and somebody wasn't ready for that yet. That's what that was.
Until the next boat comes, and then I can enjoy another ride. I believe in that.
I do too. Is it true that you dated Dr. Dre?
No.
That's completely made up.
No, me and Dr. Dre, and I don't even like to call him Dr. Dre. That sounds weird. I'm so sorry. Andre. Okay. He's someone that is very close to me, and I'll just keep it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's someone that is really close to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you dating anymore right now?
No.
You're single?
I am single.
Girl,
I am.
You may not be in a relationship, but you're seeing something.
Maybe not a thing.
There is not a many or DM.
I don't even have a roster.
You don't?
No, please don't put that on there. I don't even have a roster. It's not even a thing.
There's no more blue checks in the DMs?
No, I mean, there might be some blue checks in the DMs, but I don't have, like, I'm not like reaching, I'm not talking, like, I haven't created that. I don't know what's happening. I was dating. I'm not dating now.
What happened to the last person you were dating? Was he a celebrity?
No. I tried to go not celebrity, and I will not. Let me think about what I'm trying to say. I would date a non-celebrity. I need to date a non-celebrity who is someone who is secure in who he is, and who is a man who believes in God, and a man that has a vision for his life and for what he sees us encompassing together, and what that looks like. I don't want to feel like I'm with someone that, because like you said in the beginning of this, which is so funny that you picked up on, I know where I'm going. Yeah. I know what I want. And if I'm with someone, I require that. I need for you to kind of set the tone. You know, if I'm with someone who's like an avoidant, I guess I kind of ran into an avoidant. That's what that was. He was more of an avoidant. I'm not used to dealing with someone like that. Like, I crave for connection and closeness, and he kind of was more like, when it got too close, he would need space, which is fine. We can have space, but the communication and all that was just not. And I just feel like dating me and kind of knowing who I was could have played a factor of pressure, right? And being kind of like in a space of maybe not feeling like he had more than I had. And so then it was like the pressure, and I'm like, it's okay. I don't need you to have a lot. Like, you don't have to have a lot, but I need you to at least have the vision, and I need for you to at least have confidence, and I need you to at least like make me feel like I have a reason to be in it. And I didn't feel like there was a reason at a point.
I mean, look, at this point, you're focused on your career. You recently revealed that you are utilizing your degree, because you have, is it science, forensics? Explain.
Radiation.
Science.
Yeah.
Science. Which is like super, super hard to like get. You're very smart. Yes. And you're like working in your field currently. Talk to me about that.
I actually go into work tomorrow, and I worked yesterday. I got a job. So when I was younger, I wanted to always do music, right? But then I also wanted to be in the medical field, because I wanted to deliver babies. Like, it was really like a thing for me. I was like, I really love babies. And then I got into college, and I was like, I don't want to do all this school. Like, but what else could I do? And so I started speaking to the counselors and stuff there that were like, we have a program that's, called radiation science, and, you can do OB/GYN and like, sonograms and all these things. And I was like, oh, and they were like, maybe this is a route. It's a 5-year program. It's one of the only ones that offers you a bachelor. Other programs are like 2 years or something. They give you an associate's, right?
Yeah. That's how I knew when I got our bachelor's. No, the fuck you don't. For what she went for, yes, she could do all that stuff with all of that. When she does anything to deal with that, sonogram, stuff like that. So that took her 5 years. To be an OB/GYN is 7 years plus a year of residency. That's the same as a lawyer plus, So it's like an OB/GYN, doctors and lawyers are 7+ years. So it could take you a year or 2 years residence, and then you start into the field. Just the same as a lawyer, 7 years plus you work under somebody, you got to pass the bar, and then you're a lawyer, but it takes you a while to build clientele. It's the same thing. So she has her degree in that, which is 5 years. RN is 2 to 3 years. I'm trying to think what else. If you get your BS, so it's like a breakdown, but she got it.
So I was like, well, let me look into this. And so at my school, was only 40 students that make it in a year, right? And I was one of the 40, and I was the only minority my year. Oh, so wow. It was like a big deal. When I got into this program, it was 5 years. I stayed with these same students for 5 years, did my clinical rotations, all that, and graduated with this, which I was grateful for. Because like I said, I went on to working at Northwestern, was making great money, was living a really good life of independence. I mean, I'm 21, 22 out here in these Chicago streets. Like, it's like, oh, if I met someone, cool. But I didn't, I was feeling good. So yeah, ended up doing that. And when I moved to California, it wasn't until, like I told you, when me and O had our stuff, that I ended up going back, right? But I always go back, Carlos, because every 5 years, at least for me, I'm like, I can't get too far away from my degree because then they may not hire me in, right?
Mhm.
And who's to say that the entertainment is going to do what it's supposed to do for me? I don't know. I can keep trying, but at the end of the day, at least I have this. So every 5 years, I always go back. So this marked the 5th year for me, right? And I'm like, well, the entertainment industry's slow. Like, you know, am I going to sit here and not be productive? Like, no, I'm going to revamp this resume like I did back in the day. So I revamped it and I was like, you know what? Let me just throw it out. Let me toss it out and see what happens. Promise you not 1 week later, I get a phone call and they're like, hey, like, you know, we're offering this position. It's a, you know, per diem or whatever, but you can create your own schedule, you know, with your patients. And I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like perfect.
Yeah.
Like I don't got to work full time. I'm going to work part time. I can act. That works best for me because I need to film if I need to do movies. Man, if God ain't so good, when I literally tell you each week that comes, it's like, with April, you can just send us the days you can work. Whatever days you can't work, cool. And then if someone needs covering, you know, we'll ask you first. If you can't, you can't. So it's just perfect.
Yeah.
I'm back in a space of revamping this, you know, having this on my resume again, so that if I don't work, say, in this medical field, in the next year or two, at least I'll have a good 5 years before I go back again. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So just to keep current, but I do love what I do. And it's funny, I get patients that recognize me too. And it's
I was going to ask you that, like, do they know who you are?
They do. Like one girl actually said that she had saw the blog of me saying that I was working. And she was like, you know, I just seen this yesterday. And she's like, and here you are scanning my breast. She's like, oh my God, April just scanning my boobs. And I was like, girl, she's like, that's so cool. But she just was like, you know, I want to tell you I'm proud of you and stuff. And I was like, this is dope. This is dope.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words, create.
And I want to say this to you. I am proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
I literally was having dinner last night in this topic of conversation with friends. There's a lot of reality stars who, unfortunately, they don't last in the genre. And they don't know what life is like without the cameras.
Mm.
They just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they are constantly trying to like be out there and do the wildest shit for attention. And one thing I always say to them is, before the show, you actually had a skill set, whatever that could be.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of celebrities, reality musicians, whomever, they feel like they can't go back to the workforce because they are famous. And it's like this embarrassment of like, you know, and listen, and I get it logically. I get it as a logical person that if I'm on TV and I have many, many years of success, then yes, you want to continue to train. But I also think it takes a person who is confident enough to say,
that's just like with Catfish. Catfish is now canceled. Catfish was one of the longest running show. Remember, it came out, but I'd say about 8-9 years, 10 years, probably a little more. Nev, when he found out it was canceled and he had his real estate license, Nev jumped right back into real estate. He jumped right back into it. A lot of real estate agents are jumping into it now because they're getting ready for the market to crash. And they know that that'll be the time for them to make what they need. You know what I'm saying? To make. So he jumped right back in to know what he knew what to do. And there's a lot of them that do that. Angel Love just got back on Married to Medicine, right? She has her degree as a BSN as a nurse. And she also sells scrubs. So a majority of them have degrees. They never talk about it. And they're used to it. They're used to not being with that because they can do something else.
Okay, if there are dry spells, I can't just sit at home and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're utilizing your degree, you're not afraid of running into people who's going to recognize you. You're doing what you love. I think it really speaks to the community to say, like, it's okay to sometimes go backwards in order for God to push you forward into a whole nother stratosphere of life. Yeah. And that's why at the top of our conversation, I just feel that energy from you because God is taking you places that is unimaginable because you are doing the work and you're making the sacrifices. and you're being obedient.
I sure
And I
am.
hope that a lot of people can really
Yep.
learn from this interview that it's
And
okay.
that's why, and I feel like that's why, yeah, Erica too, and I feel like that's why a lot of people mad at Erica because they wanted Erica to fall just to have a ha-ha moment, but they forgot Erica has a degree. And she made sure that Imani has a degree. So Imani made sure, you know what I'm saying? Just in case you have that lined up. You don't have to depend on this or have to depend on that. And yeah, they wanted her to fall. They did. I think she's the only baby mama with a degree. Baby say she got one. I don't know. Because I never heard of her talk about what her degree was. So, but yeah.
To not do something.
Yeah.
It's okay to chill out and just figure out your next phase of your career.
Yeah, and it's okay to be a human. I always go back to that. Like sometimes you're not always gonna want to do the thing that you're doing, but that's okay. Like we have real lives here, right? People got bills that they got to pay, and I would hope and pray that you don't have such an ego to where you are missing the bigger picture of like being able to take care of oneself, or like that you care so much about what people say that like it really hinders your life.
When I'm with you, nobody gets me. You do.
Please don't be that. Please, I don't care if you making $10. You gonna make that $10. Like I really believe in that. Like I don't care what anybody has to say. That's never been a thing for me. But this is kind of why I've always been able to coast through life, because I'm like, I'm no different than you. We are all trying to figure this thing out. And yeah, while I did go to school and I do have a degree to fall back on, and I'm grateful for it, it's a degree that I worked hard for. I went to school. I woke up every day. I'm gonna utilize my degree. You know what I mean? Even if I am like, I'm supposed to be shooting a movie in October, right? I'm supposed to be shooting a movie in October. I'm still doing this. I'm not gonna quit my job. We still gonna do this. I'm just gonna make sure that I have them days available, because it's like, I'm just saying, like, why not? I love what I do. And, you know, even if I didn't and I was making good money, I'm not going to stop doing that because of someone's opinion, or we just got to get past that. Life is really lifing for a lot of people currently. And so if you do get a job, take that job. Treat that job like it's the last job you'll ever get, because it might just be like, you know what I mean? Like God is blessing you. I find it to be a blessing. And so everything that I get, any opportunity, I'm just grateful for. But I definitely am not allowing other people to dictate what that looks like for me, you know? And I just would hope that whoever is watching this, that you don't allow people to dictate what that should look like for you. Because I do know what you said. In the entertainment industry, so many people are like, well, I mean, like I'm this and I'm that, so why would girl, none of us are too good to be normal.
Oh, wait a second. None of us are too good to be normal.
We're not. I've never categorized myself out of being a normal human being. I don't put myself above, and I damn sure don't put myself below. I'm gonna meet you where you are. So it's like, what are we like, you know? No. I hope that touches somebody through this camera.
It touched me. Ladies and gentlemen, gays and days, Apryl Jones. That was good. Thank you for this. Oh my God.
All right, y'all. It was a good interview. But at the same time, I ain't gonna lie, I still feel like she still ain't take no ownership of what happened between her and her baby daddy. But it is what it is, child. I mean, I don't want to hear no more about it when this concert come. They are good. I don't want to hear no more. I don't want to hear no more. I don't want to hear no more. I don't want nobody bringing it up no more. This is our last time. Hope everybody got it out their system before this concert. I don't want to hear no more. They are at a good place. I'm happy for them with that. I want them to stay in a good place. Moniece and Fizz are at a good place. I love it like that. Keep it like that. Okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I will be back live with Cardi B and JT. I don't know if they're still arguing right now. Let me look. And Lauren Loomer. Girl, the girls are fighting. Cardi and JT. Lauren Loomer. And watch everybody. I'll be like, why Carisha ain't standing up? Why Carisha ain't saying? Watch, I'm telling you. They asked her for the dispatch. She told us she in the studio. Baby, you sitting here talking to everybody. You're not responding. We haven't heard a response. You're not telling us when the response is going to drop. But you address it on Snap. Child, she finna eat this girl alive. Carter finna eat her up. I'll be back at 8:30. They still going. We gonna get into it. Bye.
It's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally.
Birds singing in the dead of night.